He said it without hesitation. "We're cutting your salary in half. Take it or leave it." Jim Tanner didn't even look up from the papers on his desk when he said it. The faint smirk on his lips told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't about business. It was personal. I sat across from him, silent, still. The air in his office smelled like old money and arrogance. His Rolex caught the sunlight every time he shifted his wrist, like a deliberate taunt. My hands were steady, my breathing slow. He expected outrage, humiliation, maybe a desperate plea. Instead, I nodded. "I understand. When does this take effect?" He leaned back, satisfied, like a predator admiring its work. "Immediately." That word lingered. He said it like a sentence. I met his eyes for the first time. "Perfect timing," I said quietly. His smirk faltered, just for a second. He didn't know what I knew. He didn't know that 2 nights ago, I'd signed a contract with his biggest competitor, Delcor Industries. A position that paid double what I made here. A position that came with access to every project, every strategy, every weakness Tanner Corporation had. He didn't know that his daughter, my wife, was the one who told me to wait until after the review. I smiled slightly as he dismissed me, and for the first time in months, I felt nothing. It started small, a glance that lingered too long between them, a private joke I wasn't meant to hear. They thought they were subtle, but silence reveals more than words ever do. I'd walk into a room and conversation would stop. My wife, Emily, would shift in her seat, forcing a smile too late to be believable. Jim would clear his throat, pretending to study some file. The tension was microscopic, but constant, like a splinter under the skin. One night, while she slept beside me, her phone lit up. The message was brief. "He suspects something." The contact name was hidden under a simple initial, J. I stared at the glow of that message for a long time, the pulse in my throat slow and deliberate. There's a kind of pain that doesn't show on your face. It sits deep in your chest, like something coiled and breathing. I didn't wake her. I didn't confront her. I turned the phone face down and closed my eyes. But sleep didn't come. Only silence. Only calculation. Over the next few weeks, I became a ghost in my own house. Quiet, invisible, observant. Her perfume changed. Her laughter returned. The kind that had been missing for months, but not for me. Never for me. She said she was working late. Meetings, deadlines, the usual. So was I. I traced her movements. Calls made from the office. Transactions, GPS locations. Every piece fit too neatly. One afternoon, I followed her, not out of jealousy, out of precision. She parked 2 blocks away from Tanner Tower, walked briskly toward a cafe across the street, neutral ground. He was already there, sitting with his back to the window. Her father, her boss. I watched through the glass as they talked, his hand brushing hers, her expression soft and familiar. I didn't feel rage, only an odd stillness, like the world had slowed down to let me think clearly for the first time. That night, she came home smelling faintly of his cologne. I made dinner. We talked about nothing. She laughed too loudly. I smiled, memorizing every detail of her lie. While she slept, I copied everything from her phone. Messages, call logs, even voice notes she thought she'd deleted. I didn't need to guess anymore. I needed proof. And soon, I had it. The proof came on a Thursday afternoon, a single folder, dropped into my inbox by a quiet contact in IT. Timestamps, surveillance, hotel receipts. Her voice in a voicemail, whispering his name. His voice answering hers. I listened once. Just once. That evening, I sat across from her at dinner. The silence between us was an ocean. She asked why I was quiet. I looked at her. You know why. Her fork froze midair. Her lips parted. Denial first, then panic. Her eyes darted, calculating lies that wouldn't come fast enough. I placed my phone on the table, pressed play. Their voices filled the room. She stopped breathing for a second. Then she whispered, "It's not what it sounds like." But it was exactly what it sounded like. She reached for my hand. I didn't move. When the voicemail ended, I stood, collected my jacket, and said quietly, "You should tell your father I'll see him tomorrow." The next morning, I walked into Jim Tanner's office for my annual review. The same smirk, the same smug confidence, the same arrogance that thought it would never be caught. When he said the words, "We're cutting your salary in half," I almost laughed. He thought he was punishing me. He thought he had control. When I told him perfect timing, he didn't know what I meant. But he would. 3 hours later, a company-wide announcement hit the internal feed. Delcor Industries had launched a new strategic division. The press release listed my name as Vice President of Operations. Every detail of Tanner Corporation's internal projects, the ones I had managed, the ones he had stolen credit for, were now being dismantled by Delcor's legal team. His daughter called me 23 times that day. I didn't answer once. By the end of the week, Tanner's board had turned on him. And Emily? She left town quietly. No goodbye. I didn't need one. People think revenge is loud, explosive. It isn't. It's quiet, methodical, the kind of silence that follows after a storm, when everything broken finally stops pretending to hold together. I walked away with nothing but a small box of personal files and a clean conscience. No shouting, no tears, just a calm, measured end. Sometimes justice doesn't look like victory. It looks like absence. It looks like leaving. Jim Tanner once told me that every man has a price. He was wrong. Some of us don't need payment. We just need perfect timing. I didn't destroy him out of anger. I simply let him drown in the silence he created.